find a way to win this d5 pawn here. So let's think about it for a minute or two and calculate some possibilities here that you can try to do here. First of all, when the pawn is by itself in the middle of the board, what do we call this pawn?
Isolated.
Isolated pawn. So remember, the pawn by itself, it's an isolated pawn. Now, what can we do in this endgame as white? In order to win the pawn, you have to first attack it. So that's the first idea, right? So, but the problem is, you know, there is a danger of him advancing this pawn and exchanging it simply. So that's why you have to make sure you play the right move here. Raise your hand if you have any idea here. But what can you do to win this pawn in the middle of the board? Yes?
Just attack with a knight, knight to e3.
Very good idea. You go knight e3, and now you want to win the pawn. See, you have two pieces attacking. But looks like it's a problem. He just pushes it. And he's going to simply try to exchange this weak pawn. If you have a weak pawn in the middle of the board, you always want to exchange that pawn.
Could you push the pawn on c3 to c4?
Push up.
Isn't that pawn pinned? Rook to rook.
Well, we could play this move, but I don't know if it's really going to do that much for us. We could do that.
Well, can we just move the knight back at this point to c2?
We could. We go back. We let him push, and now we go back, we attack again. Now we have three pieces attacking on it. Looks like no choice. He has to push it again. Don't rush here. Think. Don't rush. Remember, if you see a good move, look for a better one. Knight e1 is very natural, but maybe you have something even better.
e1?
Sorry, calling answer. That's the right call out.
Well,
Knight to d4.
knight to d4. That's the very nice idea that I wanted you to see. Knight goes on d4, blocking the rook. Looks like he can just take it, right? So he doesn't take it, we just simply take the pawn. We're going to win this game. So he takes it. What do you do? Capture the bishop?
No.
No, the pawn. And now we have him pinned. See, by a neat maneuver with the knight, you're going to be able to win this pawn. And here you can slowly convert into a win with the extra pawn. If you had a king on g1, could you do the same thing?
No.
Why? Exactly. If the king was on g1, he would have gone bishop f2, discovery, check, and then he will pick up your rook. So it's very important to see where is the position of the king. Okay? So let's go back and see again how this happened. Weak pawn, you attack it. He pushes the pawn, you come back. Remember, in the endgame, if opponent is pushing the pawns, every time you push a pawn in the endgame, that means you create a weakness. Okay? So that's why. So we attack, we go back now. He comes forward, and now we block. He takes, we take the pawn, and good position. Okay, good job. Now let's move